Today's card theme is sort of inspirational. It says, anything is possible. So I think this would be a great one for college graduation perhaps, or you can change the greeting to anything you want. So I've used some really fun stamps on this one, paper dolls, Mirage papers, and some pretty shiny bling. So if you want to learn how to make this card, please stay tuned. Today I'll be working with the paper dolls stamps. There are 14 stamps on this package. Very cute, very fun. We also have the yellow Pav Crystals. I have the ring of clear, tiny rhinestones surrounding that big center gem. And I also have the Mirage Paper pack. Here are the 6. This is actually the backs of the papers. These are more of the solids. And then I'll turn them over so you can see the fronts, which are really pretty. So there's the front, and these are the patterns. I love the unusual combination of the pink, red, teal, yellow, and this one is a favorite in black. So we've got some really pretty designs on there, and this one is also unusual. We've got a yellow, actually all the colors combined in this circle all over pattern, and it actually gets kind of dark towards the outer edges, so it has sort of a border around the whole page. So that's really fun. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the project. Alright, so here I've gone ahead and used this stamp, and I've stamped a few times on this smooth white cardstock and once on this piece of paper with Memento ink, and this is a dye-based ink, and it works really well if you want to color in your images with alcohol-based pens such as Spectrum Noir, which is what I'm going to do. The reason why I've stamped it 3 times is because I like to do that when I'm coloring in things in case I mess one up. I have 2 other images to use instead of having to get my stamp and ink out all over again. So that's just a little tip. And then one on the pattern paper because I want to cut out the dress and glue it up back on the image to have a pretty patterned dress. So next up is coloring in the image. So I'm using the pale hue set of the Spectrum Noir. So it comes with 6 different pale hues. And for skin I like to use FS2 and FS3. This is the little bit darker shade, but these work well. So starting with FS3, I'm just going to kind of outline the areas that I want to be a little bit more shaded. Okay, so I've done just kind of an outline here so you can see. And next, put the cap on that. And now I'm going to use FS2, that's this color here. And to blend it, I'm going to go over, I'm going to color not only the white areas, but I'm going to go over what I just colored. So just using a circular motion, color in. Now that's not quite blended yet, so keep coloring in. That's looking much better. So the edges get softer and nice and blended. And then continue with the rest of the skin here. And if something's not blended to your liking, just go over it again with a lighter color. It should blend more easily the second time. In order for this to blend, it has to kind of moisten that first layer again, and that's why it works so well to just, keep going over it a couple times, and you get that nice soft blending instead of having those hard edges. It's looking pretty good. now down to the legs. Alright, so I kind of like how these markers give a little bit of a watercolor effect. So it's not super smooth, but it's got little, variations in the color. Alright, now that I'm done with the skin, I'm going to go ahead and do the hair. So for this one I'm using the browns set. Here's the Spectrum set, and I'm using EB8. And that's pretty much the darkest on here. So I'm just going to use that one color to do the hair. And that's another, if you don't want to do any blending or shading, simply use one marker. And I really like the fine tip. It really allows you to go into the details and still stay in the lines. Okay, that one's done. Now you can see I've kind of gone onto her face a tiny bit. So if I want to remedy that, I would go back and get my FS2 from my pale set, and let's see if I can show you here. Just kind of brush away from the face here, and it'll show a little bit of a wet spot right now, but you can see that the ink has kind of pushed that dark smudge off the face again. And if you want to smooth that out, you would just go back in with your FS1 and your FS2, and that would smooth that out. In fact, I'm just going to do that right now. Right, there we go. All smooth. Just gonna let that dry for a second. The last thing I'm going to color in is the hairband and the sash. I'm using the yellows set, and I'm going to be using CT2. I don't know if you can read that. So CT2, and it's a light yellow, and I think it'll go well with the paper pack. So I'm just gonna color that in the hairband here. It's really easy. And just so you know, the markers, they lighten, they're a little bit darker when you first color in, and then once they dry, they lighten up a shade. So this might look like a little bit darker yellow right now, but once it's dry, it'll be a nice light yellow, and it'll go perfectly with the paper pack. Oh, and I'm also going to do the shoes, same color. Can't forget the little shoes. There we go. Alright. Now all I have to do to finish this girl is cut out this dress and glue it on. Alright, now that I am done coloring in and filling in the dress, I'm going to just cut her out with my small blade detail scissors and move on with the card. For these inner parts here, I like to just take my craft knife and do it that way because it's easier to do that. Just carefully following the lines here. Go. Okay. Alright, so I've already covered my 6.5 inch by 5 inch card with this really pretty red floral border paper. And I've stamped, as you can see, another image right here on the right side. So this is where my girl is going to go. But first, the reason why I stamped it is because I want to create a shadow. So I've got the Cool Grays Spectrum Noir set here. And I have IG8, which is a pretty dark gray. And with the fine tip, I'm just going to go around the outside of this image. So here you can see the kind of shadow I've created with that outline. And then if I just place this over, now she has a nice dark shadow. So I'm going to repeat the process a couple times with a little bit lighter shades of gray. I used IG8 here, so I'm going to do IG6 and IG4 just around the outside, and that way it'll give it even more of a shadow. So here is a closer look at that shadow, and you can see the lines, which is okay. If you wanted to blend it a little more, you could, but the paper is not very thick, so you don't want it to bleed too much. Luckily it hasn't bled through. So I'm done with the shadow, and I want to foam tape this girl right over her image, and that's going to really make her pop out from the background. Alright, so now what I've done is stamped the Anything is Possible onto the pink paper. I've just cut a V in one end. I've left about a half inch of blank space here, and I matted it on black, and there is a black paper in the paper pack. It's got this kind of rose design on it, so I used that, but you could also use black cardstock if you didn't want to use that paper, since the other side is a pretty pattern. And just put some foam tape here on the back, and I'm just gonna foam tape it right here along the bottom. So Anything is Possible, so that I'm thinking this is going to be a graduation card, so kind of inspirational, if you will. So the next thing I've done is stamped the butterfly wings, these large wings, onto the teal and yellow papers here. So I'm going to have a butterfly kind of fluttering up there. I'm just going to go ahead and put everything on foam tape, just so it's kind of got a consistent look. And after that, I'm going to add some of these Pav Crystals. Alright, so here's my finished card. I also added this tiny pink butterfly from the stamp set as well. And it's also on foam tape. So everything here is on foam tape. The girl, 2 butterflies, and then the greeting here. So I hope you enjoyed this card, and if you did, stay tuned for this week's savings bundle. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. In today's bundle, you will of course get the Mirage Paper Pack. Here are all of the sheets in that paper pack. They're all double-sided. You'll get 12 sheets, so 2 of each of these sheets. Really beautiful patterns, and this is kind of an unusual color combo, which I like. Let me show you the backs really quick. The backs have a more solid color, well, with the exception of this page, have a little more solid color to them. The black piece, oops, that one's cut. The black is actually a little bit of a floral pattern in the background there. Yellow, red, love the pattern. The teal also has touches of yellow and pink in it, really pretty touch. And the pink. So you can see the patterning on that. So those are all the backs of the papers. We also have the Paper Dolls stamp set, and it says things like collect moments, not things, anything is possible, believe, choose to shine, and love, which is very versatile stamp. So you can also add these cute butterfly wings, and there's little artwork like butterfly, swirl, flower, and those can be used to jazz up all of your images. Now if you don't like the blank faces on these dolls, you can always add a little smile or a little, you know, a little expression to them. So that's a really fun stamp set. I really like that, and you get a project idea on the back. And then last but not least, these yellow Pav Crystals, and they look really beautiful. They're self-adhesive, 9 to a pack, and they go really nicely with the papers. So that is today's bundle. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Simply Anne. Thank you so much for watching, and join me again next week.